Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to my channel and welcome to today's video. So we're going to be testing out the brand new Tarte Ultra Creamy Shape Tape. So basically Tarte have gone back into this formula. They have revisited it and they have apparently perfected it even further. Certainly something that I have noticed, and I mean, I'm a huge fan of the original Tarte Shape Tape formula. It is definitely one of my holy grail most loved concealers. So Tarte have basically taken everything amazing about the original Shape Tape, the coverage, the long wear, the ability to have it not crease during the day, like all of the things that were really amazing about this. And then they've also added an eye cream to it. So it's a 24-hour hydrating eye cream. It's meant to be really, really lightweight. And basically it's meant to do all of the same amazing things that the original Tarte Shape Tape does, but also stay really, really hydrating on the under eye area. So I am so extremely excited to try this out today. It's only brand new. And what we are gonna do is actually test it side by side against the original formula so we can see exactly the difference that, it creates on the skin, exactly the difference in blending and exactly the difference in hydration. So if you are interested in seeing the brand new Ultra Creamy verse off against the original Tarte Shape Tape, then please keep on watching. So packaging wise, the original one looks exactly the same really as the new one. I can't see. Oh no, there's a little bit of a difference in the caps. So the cap of the original is like a gold with purple, and then the cap of the new one is purple with gold. It's really a very subtle difference. And then the new one does also say Ultra Creamy there. Now, let's have a little look at some of the claims. So full coverage, natural moisturizing matte finish. It's got ultra nourishing prickly pear in it as well for 24-hour hydration. It's meant to be for all skin types, but especially for dry and mature skins. It's meant to leave the skin looking hydrated. It's meant to be creamy, cushiony, and won't cake or settle. It's meant to leave the skin looking smoother, plumper, and more youthful. And apparently has technology in it that will smooth and reduce the look of fine lines and wrinkles and pores. Waterproof, 12-hour crease proof. Yeah, a lot of really, really amazing claims. Like I said, I'm a huge fan of the original, so I'm definitely very excited to see how this goes. Now, shade-wise, I did pick up medium sand 34S, and I've got the exact same matching shade in the original. So what we're going to do is zoom in really nice and close up. I'm going to show you how both formulas apply. I'm going to show you the difference on the skin, and then we're going to do a wear test and see how they wear throughout the day. All right, so zooming you guys in so you can see really nice and up close. I have got my foundation on, I've got primer and foundation on and a little bit of product in my brows, but there is nothing else around the eye area, so we can really, really see how this goes. So what I'm going to do is apply the original Tarte Shape Tape on this side of my face and then the new creamy formula on this side so that we can really see the difference. I'm going to start with the original formula first because this is the formula that I know so well, I know and love. Like, I'm very familiar with how this one applies on the skin. So I'm just going to put it underneath this eye. And it's a very, very full coverage formula. You don't really need a lot of this, but that is what this formula looks like on the skin. I did find the formula very, very creamy anyway. Very, very easy to blend. Like, I've definitely never had an issue with it blending out myself personally. So taking one of our perfecting sponges, I'm going to start blending this one into the skin. I do find like the coverage of Shape Tape to be absolutely amazing. For me, it's always really covered up all my dark circles. I do get quite a bit of darkness on the inner corner of my eye here. It's definitely something that affects me, and I do sort of get it sort of carrying across the lid here. And for me, Tarte Shape Tape's always been amazing at really covering that and really easy to blend. I've always found that it never really transferred or creased during the day. Like, it certainly lasts, like once it's on the eye, it's not going anywhere. It has always felt a little drying, after, when you sort of initially dry it out, because it is sort of like a steadfast, matte, like budge-proof formula. But then for me being so oily, once my oils have come through during the day, it hasn't really been an issue because I create my own hydration. But here is the original formula underneath my eye. As you can see, it's done an amazing job at correcting that darkness. Everything is looking really nice and bright. So we're going to go in with the new formula now, the Ultra Creamy. I'm curious to see if this actually feels different on the skin and blends differently on the skin. So taking that out. Oh, okay. It is definitely a much wetter formula. I can tell that already. And it almost feels it's like a little bit more lightweight on the skin. Not as thick, not as like, it's got a thinner sort of consistency and a creamier consistency, definitely. Taking the same sponge, I'm going to start blending this side out. I'm curious to see whether or not having a much more like creamy and sort of more lightweight consistency, if that's going to affect the coverage. Like, is it still going to be insanely high coverage? We're about to find out. Yeah, I would say it does affect it. I would say certainly it's a much thinner formula. It's much more lightweight, and it definitely feels like a lot lighter and creamier on the skin. But I do also think that the formula, like the coverage of the formula, might be slightly lower. Certainly nothing where I'm like, oh my gosh, like I need to apply another layer. But I do feel like there is a very, very minimal difference in the amount of coverage that I was able to get with this eye in comparison to this eye. And it's obviously the same amount of product. So there is that to consider. I got to tell you though, much quicker and much easier to blend out than the original formula. Like I don't find the original formula difficult to blend out, but it was quicker to blend this side out. And it does feel a lot more lightweight on the eyes, just overall a lot more creamy. Like they've definitely changed the formula. I feel like sometimes brands are like, oh, we reformulated it, but then it's exactly the same, like the Huda Beauty foundation. The only difference I really found with that was that it no longer had that really, really strong fragrance to it. But yeah, there is a very, very noticeable difference in the texture and the feel of this formula. And it is also actually drying down, which is really good to see. Oh, this one might actually work. I mean, it is for all skin types. I was a little bit concerned that it was going to be too emollient, too sort of heavy, but it's actually dried down to a really nice matte finish, which is awesome. Yeah, overall, I'm really, really happy with the application, but let's powder it down and see if there's any difference between the two sides also. All right, taking out Nikkia Cosmetics Velvet Finishing Powder. This is a translucent powder. I talk to you guys all the time about, you know, the best way to set your makeup down, and a translucent powder is absolutely the way to go. You do want to make sure you find something that's really, really finely milled as well, so that you don't introduce any extra texture. So picking up the powder, I'm going to press it underneath the first side and set that concealer in place. I just want to see if it sort of powders down differently, if it looks different on the skin, any difference in like the texture, any difference in how my fine lines look. I really want to see, like, I want all the information, okay? So the original powders down really, really nicely, and it powders down in a way where it doesn't settle or crease or, you know, sort of gather into any of my fine lines. So let's take the powder and set down the new ultra creamy side. Okay, so they both feel really similar, but I got to tell you, this new creamy side actually looks, I don't know, more blurred, more sort of flawless. I can notice some teeny tiny, some like very, it's like very, very fair, almost like crepiness and almost like additional emphasis on fine lines just on this side. And that's probably due to the fact that it's a more drying formula, whereas this side's a more hydrating formula. But even though it is such a hydrating formula, like, it's powdered down perfectly. There is no tackiness, there's no stickiness. It feels really, really lightweight. I'm really surprised. I didn't think that the original could get any better on my skin type, but the ultra creamy side actually does look a lot better. Okay, original formula here. See how there's just like a little tiny bit of crepiness, sort of a little bit of texture in there? And then the ultra creamy formula, which, like, it just, both sides I think look really good, but the ultra creamy side I do feel like is smoother on the skin. So that definitely really excites me. Okay, so I'm gonna chuck the rest of my makeup on off camera. I'll quickly come back to show you a comparison between both sides, and then we'll start the check-ins. All right, so I have the rest of my makeup on now, and now that everything's like sort of powdered down, everything is done. Interestingly, there is definitely still more crepey and sort of dry looking skin on the original Shape Tape side. I'll zoom you guys in. Hopefully you can see what I'm talking about, but it's just here. It's a little bit crepier, it's a little bit drier in comparison to this side that just looks like literally completely smooth. And I can actually notice it from even like, I mean, the mirror's a fair way from me, but I can even see it from all the way back here. Like, it is quite apparent just under here. See how like there's like folds of skin and like extra wrinkles? Both feel very lightweight in my opinion. I can't notice a huge difference in how they physically feel on the skin, but it's actually quite shocking to see the difference in, the dryness. And it's something that I've actually never even noticed before. So really, really interested in how this is going so far. So I'm obviously going to start wearing this now. I will see you guys in about 6 hours, about halfway through the day. I will be checking in on my vlog camera. So it's going to look quite different to how it normally looks for my check-ins, but I think we can still make it work. And then I'll see you tonight later on in the studio to get a really, really good close-up look at our 12-hour results. But leave a comment down below. Can you see the difference in the two eyes? Can you see the dryness and the extra texture that I'm talking about on this side? And which side do you think looks better? Let me know all of your thoughts in the comments, and I'll see you guys in 6 hours. Okay guys, so it is now late at night. I've officially been wearing this makeup for 13 hours now. I did try and do the midday check-in, but it was a total fail. It was super overcast and the lighting was terrible. I checked the footage, you literally cannot see anything. So we're just gonna be doing the application and then the after 12-hour review of this. I've gotta say, you guys, I am really, really, really impressed at how the ultra creamy Shape Tape has worn and held up. And honestly, the original settles only the tiniest little bit for me on like these like very, very fine inner lines. But there is definitely a dramatic reduction in comparison to how much the new ultra creamy one has settled in compared to the original matte version. Like, I will zoom you guys in, but if I stretch the skin out, like you can definitely see some settling on the original matte side. And there's very, very, very minimal on the ultra creamy side. So there is certainly quite a difference in how well the new one does wear. So I think for those of you who do find the original formula too dry, too heavy, too much, certainly too much for mature skin and dry skin types, I do think that this new one, I think that you'll really like it. So here's my eyes close up. This is the original, and I don't even know if it's going to show up on camera, but if I sort of gently pull that skin taut, see how it's like settled and there is some concealer missing in those fine lines. In comparison to the ultra creamy side, like it looks freshly applied. Like you can hardly even tell that I've been wearing it all day. Like I wouldn't say it's a dramatic, like, oh my goodness, the original formula sucks in comparison to the new one. But I do know that there are quite a few of you who find the original too heavy, too matte, too drying, especially under the eyes. With me being such an oily skin type, you know, it's easier for me with products like that because I create my own hydration throughout the day, and it sort of mixes in and stuff. But certainly we did also see those instant results, like it instantly looked less crepey and less dry on the skin. I would say overall, I really do like this new formula. I'm not going to say, you know, if you already own the original Shape Tape, I don't think that you need to run out and purchase this one. You know, wait until you finish the other one and then try this formula out. Like, I don't think it's like, oh my gosh, you need it right now, because it really is only a very, very subtle difference. But at the same time, if you love the coverage of Tarte Shape Tape, but always found the original formula too drying, too heavy, it settled into fine lines, it settled, it creased and things like that, this new one, I think that you are going to really, really enjoy, because it's definitely still got the things that, you know, Shape Tape is so amazing for. Like, it's got amazing coverage, totally budge proof. Like, it does not look like the concealer has worn off on either side of my eyes at all. Sweat proof, transfer proof, oil proof. Like, it lasts really, really well on the skin. Definitely very, very creamy formula. Definitely very, very lightweight when applying it. I would say that it is easier to blend out than the original, just because it's creamier. You know, it's not as matte. It's not as sort of like full on hardcore. Overall, it's a really, really beautiful formula. And like I said, like if you don't like the original for those specific reasons, I think that you are really going to enjoy this one. So yeah, those are pretty much my thoughts on the new ultra creamy Shape Tape. I wouldn't say that, you know, like I said, there's an overwhelming, oh my gosh, it's completely different. It's not, but there are certainly some subtle improvements that I think a lot of people are going to be really, really excited about. So I hope that seeing this video helped you guys if you were curious about the new formula. Perhaps you were curious about whether or not the new formula was oily skin safe. It totally is. As you can see, I've had no issues wearing it during the day. And as always, if you've got any more questions about the formula, please by all means let me know. I do also have here in my hot little hands the Ordinary concealer, and I'm going to be trying trying that out in a video next week, and I'm very, very excited to see how that formula goes. But if you've got any other product requests, any questions, anything that you want to ask me at all, please, as always, pop them down in the comment section, and I'll be hanging out down there answering all of those for you. And yeah, I hope you had an amazing day. I hope that you enjoyed the video and it was helpful. Please give it a thumbs up if you did enjoy it. It does help me out a lot. I love you all heaps, and I will catch you guys in my next video. Bye!